Good evening, everyone. Very warm welcome to everyone who is joining us online and who are physically present at the center. Thank you for making the time to be with us. My name is Anita, and I extend very warm welcome on behalf of Manhattan Meditation Center and Peace Village Retreat and Learning Center. So we are already in the second month of 2023. We are already in February. And we have lots of goodies for you. You know that we offer these Thursday talks every Thursday, except on Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving comes on Thursday. That's the only Thursday we skip. Besides this, we have Power Boost meditation at noontime every day from Monday to Friday. It's only for 15 to 20 minutes. Meditators share their thoughts on a particular topic and leaves you in meditation. You know, we get feedback from time to time, people who join us who are taking benefit, and they say, this is what we needed today. It was very, very helpful. It empowered me. It changed my day. So if you're already joining us, wonderful. If you haven't tried our live meditation in the afternoons, we encourage you to try. And in case you cannot, but you have an interest in meditating or meditation, we have the recordings available on our YouTube channel. And we upload these recordings every day. You can watch the previous ones, or you can watch the new, the everyday one. In February, we have a workshop coming up on February 18th. The topic is Reconnect to Your Original Purity and Freedom. The timings are in the morning from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Registration link is already up on our website. So if you have any interest, please go ahead and register. We're also offering meditation course on February 25th and 26th, Invisible Word of Truth. The timings are 11 to 12:30. And maybe mark your calendars for 7-day meditation course coming up in month of March. It will be starting on March 13th and it'll go until 19th, and timings will be in the evening from 6 to 8 p.m. So we are trying to cover a lot of different timings during the day, depending on what suits your schedule, what works with your day-to-day commitments and responsibilities. And we encourage you to keep on trying one or the other services Manhattan Center offers, because as I said, people who take a minute to share with us, people do feel lightened, happy, empowered, beautiful gifts. All these are, right? So why would you miss out on these? Make time and empower yourself. We also have started a podcast service, and our podcast service platform has short meditations and discussions on topics of your interest. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and Amazon Music. So we are trying to stay connected with you as much as possible. Today's topic, very interesting, right? Restoring our capacity to love. When I was reflecting on this topic, the key word is restoring. One of the things after coming to US, I noticed that people spend a lot of time restoring their vintage cars, what they have received from their fathers or grandfathers, and they really keep it in a prim and proper shape, take a lot of pride in it. And there are vintage car shows, and I have been to a few, and those cars look beautiful. I feel like, are they really using it, or they're just keeping it? But besides that, people take pride in restoring. A lot of people also spend time restoring their bikes and take a lot of pleasure in it. And then, of course, the maintenance is. So when it's restoring the capacity to love, so that means that's an indication already that we have something already with us, right? Which we need to restore. And you have heard it in our different lectures from time to time that you are love, you are being of love, right? But right now, the energy what we are surrounded by, that has really depleted that innate quality within us. But the wonderful thing is, like, we can restore our cars, we can restore our capacity to love. Now you're going to ask, Anita, we don't have a manual. For that car, we have a manual. Yeah, it's more or less intuitive. The manual is more or less intuitive. Your inner voice, your capacity to connect within you guides you. And we all the services, all the topics we offer help you to kind of come up with that manual to restore your capacity. Manual is intuitive, and the pride what you feel is more experiential. It's not all just incognito. Ultimately, it manifests in your relationships, but the buck starts with you, and it actually stops with you. And I was remembering somebody shared this incident one time that somebody who was really officiating a good number of people, a boss, he had the habit of just going in the morning and shouting and yelling, and all the people who are working under him and all. And his thought was that unless until I yelled at them and I'm angry, I don't get any work done. And incidentally, one of the days, his boss came in the office. And imagine what happened. He yelled at him. And, after that, his boss left. He said he could have said this more gently and lovingly. And the whole staff around him, they were looking at him like, really? You don't realize what you do every day? So the point is, the buck starts with us and stops with us. But the thing is, we can give only what we have. So if we want people to interact with us more respectfully, gently, lovingly, need to check, have we built our capacity? Because once we have it, then only we can give it. And we give it, then we receive it, right? That's how it manifests in our relationships. So I'm going to invite Sister Rona to share her thoughts and insights on the topic, restoring our capacity to love. Very warm welcome, Sister Rona, on behalf of everyone.
Hello, everyone. And good evening, at least for those who are on Eastern time. I'm not sure where everyone is joining from, but those here at the center also. And this is such a huge topic now, vast, love. But maybe we can start with just a moment of silent reflection, you for yourself, and kind of gather your thoughts and your feelings and your experiences. What is love? How do you look at it? What do you experience? And then we will go a bit deeper. But just a moment of silent reflection. Thank you. One anecdote comes to mind with this topic. And this is anecdote from history. Socrates, this Roman philosopher, was asked one time by one of his students whether I should get married. He asked, should I get married? I want to experience love. I want to be happy. Should I get married? So he thought for a little while and then said to the student, it doesn't really matter. You will be what? You will be miserable anyway. And this is quite a bold statement, but good for us to think. So what he was saying, it is not about whether you get married or not, whether you have someone or not. It is your own state of mind. And your own state of mind and your own inner world will decide how you feel, married or not married. And this is kind of interesting, related with this topic of love. It is a word that is used and overused and misused and abused. But do we really understand this word, first of all? What truly is love? There are so many books written about it. Every movie has some throw in it around this topic. Lots and lots of songs are on this topic of love and lots of poetry. But still, it seems to elude us. And even if we have a certain experience or some high of something that we might call love, or that we do call love, or that may be even love, are we able to keep that feeling? Are we able to hold on to it? Or are we quickly getting into some insecurity that it will go or finish, or that it can finish again? So what is this mysterious thing called love? And even further restoring our capacity to love, first we need to kind of understand what is this love. And from a spiritual perspective, even more so, who is the one who is loving? And whom are we loving, or what are we loving? That is also where there is maybe even a confusion, you could say. Do we love someone because of certain skills? Do we love someone because of certain possessions? Do we love someone because of their physical appearance? Do we love someone because of their intelligence? Maybe. Do we love someone because of their bank account and their car? All these things we should ask ourselves. And I'm saying it, and it may appear a bit obvious, but the point behind it is my love a bargain? Is my love a deal? Means if this is there, I love, and if it is not there, I don't love anymore. Or my love shifts to something or someone else. Then my love is actually a bargain. And maybe that is not even really love. It is more a bit selfish, trying to feel good. I can give you if you give me. I like you if this is there. And that is not truly love, but at least not the spiritual definition of it. So this is useful for us to understand. Someone once told me, this was like in a workshop setting, how can you know your capacity to love? This was the question. How do you know what is your ability, your capacity to love? How could you measure your love, your ability? Have any idea? Anyone here or on Zoom? How would you measure, what method could you use to check how much is your ability to love? Anyone has any ideas? Anita, how do you check your ability to love? One nice experiment you can do, maybe just at a thought level. How I behave to others, Monique is saying. Yes. One way, as a thought experiment, you can do for yourself. Remember someone, please check your mic because there is a, yeah. Think of someone who has created a lot of problems for you, a lot of complications for you. Think of someone who is not so nice or has been in the past, not nice to you, who has created all kinds of complication for you. Can you have feelings of love? That is an indication of your capacity. Because to love when everything is nice, to love when everything is good, to love when person is nice to you, that is nice, is good, but that doesn't say much of your power to love. Your power to be loving may be even a better way to say it. Now we live in a country that is predominantly Christian, and one of the things that Christ, the founder of Christianity, is remembered for is his ability to love under extreme provocation. The power of that religion was founded and created on that soul's ability to love, even when they were harassing him, even when they were insulting and defaming him, even when they were crucifying him. Still, there was feelings of love. That ability we all have. That potential we all have. But it has become diluted and it has become twisted. And we have become, what is the word? Confused and distorted and misdirected. Now, that ability to love also means we have to be selfless. Because one who is needy, can someone who is needy love? Yes, as long as he gets what he needs. So then it becomes a bargain. I can love you and I can write poetry and I can give you many gifts as long as you give me what I want. I can be nice to you. I can smile to you. I can be caring, even as long as I get what I want. That is not what we are talking about here. And that kind of love is actually, it is, maybe we should not even use the word love for that. That is more dependency. That is more an attachment, or that is more a need that gets fulfilled. And so when we talk about the restoring our capacity of love, it actually means we have to diminish that neediness inside. And we have to diminish that dependency, that habit of trying to depend, that habit of thinking that we need others to feel good, to be nice. Spiritual knowledge says we are beings of love innately. We are by nature. Sometimes you see this in little children. They are just not only happy and playful, but they love everyone. They love their friends. They are nice. You know, they don't think, oh, you look beautiful, so I love you, or your skin color, or your father has a lot of money, so I love you. No, they just like their friends. They play. That nature of being playful and kind and loving, it gets, what is the word? It gets polluted as we grow up often. And when that needy nature, that idea that we need things, takes root in our consciousness. And then we become beggars. We become dependent. And we think, without this or without that or without this person, I cannot be happy. And so our love becomes conditional. Our love becomes a form of dependency. Or our love becomes a bondage. And so restoring our capacity to love, maybe it just means we have to become children again. Not physically, but a mindset of a child. But even beyond mindset of a child, we have to cultivate that spiritual mindset. Because even with children, there is some level of need. There is some level of survival mode is there. Now, what is the difference between love and attachment? Or is there a difference? Anyone want to say?
Love with attachment.
Sister Rona,
Go ahead, please.
when I think of what you just said, I think of that saying when it says, if you love someone, set them free. If they come back, it was meant to be. So I think love should be unconditional. Of course, there is no attachment. You just love unconditionally. So you set that person free, and then if it's real love, it'll come back. So it's really no attachment at all, which is, difficult to do, but I think it's just unconditional. It's just allowing that person to be exactly who they were meant to be and respecting that. And I think most importantly, in my perspective, if you don't love yourself, I don't feel, it's just my opinion, that you could love anybody else. You first have to love yourself before you could love anyone else.
Very good.
Love means no expectations. Right? That's the child kind of love, pure. Just have that playful attitude too.
So then the question is, how can I get into that state of mind where there are no expectations? There are someone put some things in the chat. I'm not sure, Anita,
Yeah.
if you could read.
Love is in your control. Attachment, you are out of control.
Yeah, very good. Anyone else?
Sister Anna, what is put in chat is, but if it is your spouse and he walks away from you, should you let him take his time to come back or make an effort for him to come back?
Every situation is quite, has its own dynamics, no? But when someone walks out, there is always something that leads up to that. It is not an incident in itself at that moment. There are dynamics leading up to that. And so when it is like that, the moment they walk out, you should have done lots of things before that already. No, but relationships are not like vegetables. If you don't like it, you throw it out. Shouldn't be like that. I'll go over to the board to illustrate some things just for us to reflect on this topic. The board is visible, Anita?
Yes, Sister Anna.
Just some of you who have listened to this kind of topics before may remember, but just to give a little illustration on this area. Say here is this is Marianne. And Marianne is an art student. She came to New York City with lots of enthusiasm to study art. And this freshman, first year, and new life, new city. She comes from, I don't know where, Ohio or somewhere. She comes to New York City, exploring new life, and she's very artistic, creative. So one day she paints her hair blue, another day she paints it green, another day she paints it with polka dots, very creative and expressive. And here is John. And John is an engineering student in the same university. Same, he just came to New York City, new life, new study, career, and whatever, he dreams for the future. And somehow they meet, and he's kind of amused. This green hair today, tomorrow red hair, Another day, polka dots. He kind of amused about it. Interesting, very creative. New scene. He didn't see that in his village, in his town in the Midwest. Interesting. They get to know each other better. After the second year, they are boyfriend and girlfriend. And after the 6th year, they both graduate, they are married. Now they are married. Now she paints her hair blue. Will he still think, oh, this is nice? Someone here is saying no, chances are not. They have to go to some dinner of his boss and his company, and she comes home with purple, purple, purple green polka dot hair. Will he be jumping and happy? Most probably not. Maybe, but most probably not. So what has happened? One person changed? Did they change? And what is it that changed? Hmm. So someone here is saying someone changed in this relationship. One way to see it is this marriage has become a jail.
Sister Ronan, there is a comment on chat also. His expectations changed without informing her.
Did his expectations really change? Maybe they were always there, but at that moment, there was not that bondage. Deeper inside, he had his values and his principles always, but he was just amused. And one way to look at this, he has found a prison officer. Prison officer is maybe a strong term, but what has happened is she is in charge to make him happy. Because of his expectations and desires. Now, she did not choose to be his prison officer. He has given her power through his expectations. And I'm just giving this funny example, ridiculous example, but we can do this all the time. And when we first meet people, those expectations are not on the surface and they're not empowered yet. But many times when the relationship evolves, and this is not necessarily a partner, boyfriend, girlfriend, or husband-wife relationship. We also do this with friends, with family members. We can do this with boss and colleagues, with everyone. In the beginning, it is nice, amusing maybe even. But over time, expectations emerge. And it is those expectations that block our capacity to love. Because the expectations means I must be, they need to be fulfilled. They need to be met. And when they are not met, then what happens? I don't love anymore, or I get annoyed, or I
So
get
generally, you don't love me anymore.
that is how we then interpret it. You don't love me anymore. But so but this is like a mental jail we create for ourselves. John has some expectations, some desires, some needs, and Marianne is in charge of fulfilling that or not. So if she fulfills it, he is happy. If she doesn't, he is sad or mad, whatever, either. And I'm simplifying it just to understand these dynamics. This also happens with family. This can happen with parents, children, or the other way, children, parents. More our expectations and desires and needs, more the jail, the mental and the emotional jail. They are in charge to fulfill. Now, they did not choose to be in charge of my happiness and my peace. They did not choose to be in charge of how I feel. But I have given them the power. And that spoils love. When I'm expecting, when I'm needy, I cannot truly love. Not truly, not unconditionally, not that love that we are longing for and that we are talking about now. That ability to love gets blocked proportionally to my needs and my desires and my expectations. Now, this is a big, big area. And then we call it attachment. I cannot live without you. That is even more jail now. I had a friend in university. Actually, this was a couple. And he was a brilliant economics student. So at some stage, he got offered a scholarship from the World Bank to go to Costa Rica for an internship. A huge opportunity. And of course, he went. And she got sick. She stopped eating and drinking to the extent that she had to be hospitalized. And he had to come back. And my friends, all the friends in our group, they all said, this is really strong love. She can't live without him. And at that time, I wasn't in spirituality, into spirituality at that time. But I remember thinking and even saying, this is not love. This is, what is this? She can't live without him. She ruining his future and also her own, because they're together. So their future together would be part, his career would be part of that. She can't live without him. Is this love? But she doesn't consciously do bad. Just this is strong dependency. And this becomes like a what is it? Yeah, like a, how do you call this thing? Yeah, choking, but there's noose around his neck. He's not free. Joanne was saying, if you love, you set them free. Love means it should be free, no? It shouldn't be, oh, you sit here and don't go anywhere because if you go, I die. What is that? And so you're restoring our ability to love means this should be less and less and less. That means we need to become emotionally independent. We have to become clear about our own abilities. And this is why it is so beautiful, the spiritual knowledge. I think if the mics are not muted, there is some noise. Spiritual knowledge tells us that you are a complete being. Now we somehow have adopted the mindset, the model to life of I am born at a certain time and I'm nothing and I'm no one. And as I grow up, I have to accumulate, I don't know, 2 M's or 1? Accumulate. I have to accumulate things and people, and I have to become someone. And then at the end of life, it all finishes into nothingness again. This is the present day model worldwide that we carry of ourselves and of life in general. And so this model, I am born with nothing and no one, and I become someone because of the people around me, because of the things around me, because of the country that I'm born in, because of the culture that I'm born in, and the things that I can accumulate and study. I become someone. I become valuable. And that is why we fear the end of life, because we think then it will all become nothing again. Simplified. Now, this model that we subconsciously, many of us carry this model to self and to life in our psyche. This model makes us eternally needy. Because we need things, we need people, we need situations, we need circumstances. The spiritual model is very different. The spiritual model says, you are a spiritual being. You are a complete being. You are an immortal being. You are a divine being. You are God-like in nature, a being of peace, a being of love, a playful, free, eternal, invisible being of consciousness, a soul. You need nothing to exist, ever. You need nothing to be who you are, always. Child of the Supreme, belonging to that soul world, the home of souls, belonging to a family of souls, being like the Supreme Soul. And the soul associates with a body, goes into a womb, takes birth, associates with the body, and goes through this experience of life, this game of human life. And in this game of human life, there are a variety of toys. There are bodies, there are interactions with others, there is an education, there's a culture, there is a house, there are objects, there's money, there is music, all kinds of things, variety of experiences. But for the soul, it is all extra. The real self, the soul, remains forever. Soul, a godlike being of light, being of love, a being of peace. We just play the game. And in playing the game, we have a variety of experiences. And we know that the game is temporary. And we know that everything in the game is temporary. That's fine. We don't lose who we are. We don't lose our home. We don't lose our eternal relationships with the Supreme. As souls, we are a family. We come and play. Everyone is a soul. I never truly ever lose anyone. And when the game ends, that's fine. We just go back home to the soul world. So if this would be our awareness all the time, then there would not be this feeling of neediness. And when this is our attitude towards life, then that soul nature can manifest naturally. And this is what we saw, or the stories tell us what they saw, for example, with Jesus Christ. Regardless of the provocation, regardless of the circumstances, that soul, pure soul power, that pure soul love is there for everyone, regardless of the behavior. And even to die is not a problem. Just go. Go on. Now I know we are not we don't have to be like Christ, but we all in our own way can live that soul nature. And so restoring our capacity, actually that capacity is there. We just have to become aware of it, wake up to it, and shift our perspective on self and on life. Otherwise, we will always be trapped in some form or other in this kind of dynamics, expectations. And sometimes these expectations and desires, they are so petty. One couple that I know is, they fight, but they don't even know why they fight actually. It's just habit to fight. And they fight for funny things, like they don't, someone don't put the what is it? The cap of the toothpaste. And then they fight. They make each other life miserable because of the cap of the toothpaste. Silly things become explosive because underneath there are expectations and desires and demands sometimes even. But it all comes from a wrong sense of identity. When we, in this first model, body conscious model, we feel we are bodily beings. So with birth, body begins. I'm nothing and no one, and only when it develops and accumulates and I become someone, hopefully, because these days you not even sure what will happen. This model, it is very different. If we restore this awareness not only our ability of love to love, capacity to love is restored, our capacity of peace, of happiness, of joy comes back. Our playfulness, our enthusiasm comes back. Anyone want to say anything? This is where meditation comes in. No? This is where a spiritual practice comes in. To remind myself again and again of this. And begin to deeply touch base with that experience of the self as a being of light, a being of peace, invisible, God-like, living star. I'm not a female. Female is, what is female? Is the characteristic of the car, the vehicle. But soul is beyond gender.
Can you please describe this model again, if you don't mind?
We can't hear. Is there some more in the chat, Anita?
There's a request to explain the spiritual model again.
The spiritual model, how to say that. So normally we think of ourselves in terms of this. I am Marianne, and Marianne is born in a certain place. Marianne is born to a certain family, in a certain culture, maybe a certain religion, a certain language. Marianne received a certain education, has certain parents. Marianne gets a certain job, maybe gets married. This is Marianne. We normally think this body conscious model, we think this is me. And my value depends on all the things that I was able to achieve, accumulate, get, the people who I get around me. And then at some stage, this all dissolves and we feel we are back to nothing. And so this body conscious model is I am born as nothing and no one, and whatever I can achieve and accumulate and whatever and whomever I am around me, that decides my value. And I can only love, I love those who give me what I feel will make my value at least stay or go up. Those who feed my ego, them I love. That is the body conscious model. The soul conscious model is you are actually not Marianne. You are actually a spiritual being, a being who is immortal, a being of consciousness, a being who is divine in nature, that exists before this body even exists. Soul has come from the soul world. The soul belongs to the Supreme Soul, belongs to a family of souls, a family of benevolent beings, and comes in the physical world to play a part, to play this game of life. And so the value and the beauty and the greatness is already there, is always there. And the soul associates with the body to play the game of human life. And so whatever is achieved or is accumulated, it is extra. because the soul is already a divine being. You are this. And then when the game finishes, that's fine, because we remain eternal, immortal, divine beings of light. Now me saying this is theory, because inside we might still just use this body conscious model for that ability, that capacity of love to be full blast naturally. This has to naturally become our awareness. When we use the word I, it should be this living light, immortal. Me, this is what should come in the screen of my mind. This is the vehicle, temporarily. And at present, in this body conscious model, we love thinking of ourselves as this. I, Marianne, love John. But the real person is ignored. Because actually there is a soul there too. It is like you're loving the shoe and you're ignoring the person wearing the shoe. You're loving the car, ignoring the one who is driving the car. And then we create expectations, desires, attachments, bondages. It becomes like a prison, suffocating. And not because we are bad, not because we have bad intentions, but because we are not enlightened, because we are not spiritually awake. And this is why relationships, many of at least partners relationship, intimate partnership relationships, it starts with people who love each other. They truly love. But sometimes you're amazed at the end how much hate there is and how ugly a separation becomes. But these were people who loved at some stage. Where has that love gone? It got buried under expectations and desires and needs. And the thing is, if, for example, if a mother loves the child, love also is pragmatic. Now, if a mother loves a child, how will that manifest? Mother will care for the child, take care of the child, prepare food, make sure that the child is secure, not sit and write a poem, how much I love you. And so it also has an expression in terms of what is truly useful. Okay. I think we all have a lot of work to do. The work in the sense of reflection to do, no? Because this is a word that is so lightly used often. I love you, and write it, I love you. And I mean, we don't mean bad, but it has become so superficial. And we're missing the real point.
Mr. Rana, there is a question, follow-up question from the same person. How can we get enlightened so much that we don't need other people's company? I think everyone will benefit if we hear that in stream. Simple.
Yeah, well, it is not that we avoid other people or that we don't like other people, but it is very different when you are with someone and that person doesn't need anything from you, but you just enjoy each other's company and you enjoy the beauty of who you are and who I am. And you share that. And you share interests maybe, but it is not I need. Now there is one who is always so conscious and who is always in that state of being egoless, being free from needs. And that is the Supreme Soul, God. And in meditation, in deep soul awareness, we can experience the company of God. Someone who doesn't need anything, but gives everything unconditionally, who's endlessly loving, endlessly wise, endlessly pure, never complains, never criticizes. Very pleasant to be in the company of that one. And just to be in the company of God, just to think of someone like that, it lifts my spirits. And enlightened, the word enlightened just means we are knowledgeful. How can we become? Reflect on this more and more every day. Fill yourself with spiritual wisdom and make this habit of daily meditations strong. And expose yourself to people who have this interest and this practice, these practices also on a daily basis. Because we are bombarded by this model. No, advertisements, for example, they are all just feeding into this desires and needs. You watch any advertisement and they're telling you what you need. You might not have ever thought about it even, but after seeing that beautiful promo video, you start believing, I need this. And it makes you feel empty. It makes you feel lacking. A beggar. Can a beggar love? A beggar loves when he gets. But then he puts it away and continues begging. Now wake up to the divine self. Become aware. But this requires a regular, ongoing reminders for ourselves. A lifestyle that nurtures your spiritual awareness. So a good way to start is do the course, the meditation course. These lectures are also good ways to start, but it is not that one lecture and that's it. You know, we have to grow into this awareness. And many of our desires, many of our needs, so-called needs, many of our so-called expectations, they are created. They're not, how to say this? They are cultivated. I remember, this is what is now coming to mind. Someone is watching an advertisement of a certain shampoo. Of a lady with beautiful hair, and then all of a sudden her life is successful because she uses that shampoo. And after that advertisement, you are convinced I need this shampoo. Deeper inside, it just leaves you empty. Many of what we call needs, they are created, artificially created. Body actually needs very little. Needs a little food, it needs shelter, it needs water, and it needs some warmth, and that's it. But we walk around with our head full of needs and desires and expectations, and it blocks our peace, it blocks our love. Hmm? Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. Mm. Mm. Yeah, very well. No, someone here is saying it is a cyclical pattern. I don't know if it is inherent in our nature, but we are definitely conditioned at this moment in time. But it is not inherent and it is not innate because we long for something else. And our deeper longing, and anyway, love eludes us. So something what we are doing is not completely right. Because if what we were doing were right, we would be content. We would be loving. We would be happy all the time. But all these so-called desires as a parent, for example, that our children become in a certain way. Why can't we look at them as already complete, as already pure beings? Why, if in soul consciousness we would see them as souls, you teach them the game, but your sense of value of them is not connected with what they achieve in the game. They are beautiful, they are great, they are valid, they are worthy for the being that they are, not for what they achieve. And then there is also much more, the child grows up with a sense of security and confidence that is not related to their achievements. They will achieve still, and they might even achieve better because now they are operating from that sense of security, not from that sense of conditioned. If I achieve, I will be loved. If I achieved, I will be seen as good and successful. No, I am good. I am loved, regardless. And from that space of security, we will be much more creative and much more strong also. But agreed, this is not how society operates at present. And not because anyone is bad. Our parents have the best of intentions most of the time also. And if they are not, they're coming from their own, whatever they got and their conditioning. So we have to come out of this as a society. But it starts with me. And I can only practice this for myself. Okay, time is way past. So begin as an experiment for yourself tonight. try and grasp that mind of one who feels the self to be a divine being of light, an immortal being of light. And all of this is extra. It's an extra gift, it's an extra gain. But even if everything falls away, you remain that divine being of light. And everyone else also. Just as an experiment, check how do you feel inside? And how do you feel about others if you see beyond their behavior, beyond their physical appearance? There is a living light there, my brother, eternal, regardless of the present scene in their drama. Okay, let's close. Just for a few moments. The practice is easy. Just become aware that, of course, there is a body, but there is one who is operating this body. The inner being, the soul, invisible experiencer, a being of consciousness who is timeless, immortal, one who is a guest in this body, a guest on this planet. A being who is innately godlike, benevolent, and who needs nothing. The whole game of life is an extra gift. And just try and grasp this timeless, endless, living light. Serene, peaceful soul. This is who I truly am. Pure, secure, free. Om Shanti. Thank you.